and generative AI. Gigi, what are you excited about today?
So I'm excited to learn more about what our partners are doing in the generative AI space here at AWS. It's something that in my day-to-day job, I don't get to discuss that often. So I'm really excited about that. And then also, I think they have a cool demo for us. They're going to talk about some customer stories. And I think it's just going to be really cool to hear about a company that was one of the first partners to be part of the competency program.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, so what is AWS On Air? So AWS On Air is our weekly show where we go through all of the fun innovations that we are having at AWS, and we give a, first look at what our new services are. We help people get introduced, to the cloud. So we do that all throughout the week. Gigi, what are some of the shows that you like watching here on our channel?
So, one of our producers has a cool show that comes up every once in a while that's focused on sports and
Yep.
AWS, which I think is so cool. But we also have Under the Hood with Art, we have Startups with Jillian, we have Game Days with AM, we have Lockdown with Kyle, we have a data focused show now, and we have, I think, a show that you partake in pretty often, right, Jasmine?
Yep.
Which one is that again? Tell
That's
me.
game day. I'm usually on game day
Perfect.
the most. I love game day, taking everybody through our different scenarios of fun and breaking things and really showing people, how to get around the console. A lot of times we bring people into these team-based scenarios and it's their first time in the console, so they might be solving something around security or networking or infrastructure, and everything's kind of on fire, but it's really fun and you get points.
I do love the gamification of our game days.
Yeah.
I have had endless or countless positive experiences where it just gets a whole room of people really excited
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on in the console or elsewhere. And the way that you guys have created different game days for different scenarios really, I think, lowers the barrier to entry on testing those types of things and
Oh
doing
yeah.
or I guess like group exercises in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like the different strategies, especially whenever we get to play online of all the people in the comments. They're like, do this, do that. No, wait, do
Yeah.
something else. And we get to use kind of all the brain power together. But AM Grabelny leads that show. And then now Gunnar Grosh also goes through that content as well. So it's been really fun to see the evolution of that show and how it's all been working out. So it looks like we have a lot of new viewers joining us right now. Like you said, we're doing this at a different time. We're normally on Fridays, and so we have some viewers here joining us. We're going to talk about generative AI, but tell us in the comments where you're from. This is a live show. We specifically want to shout out the UK. We know we have quite a few viewers from the UK
Mhm.
today. Gigi, where are you at today?
So I'm hosting from downtown Manhattan in New York City in my apartment. Where are you coming in from today?
I am in the suburbs in Austin, Texas.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, so not my
Hopefully,
downtown Manhattan feel, but
no, I was saying earlier, I had to get out of the house this morning. It's I need to segment my days with different locations. Otherwise, if I'm just in the apartment all day, I get a little
yeah,
extra crazy. So very excited to be doing this afternoon from home.
yeah.
And I think we should probably give a little bit of a rundown one more time. We have more
Yeah.
viewers coming in on who we're talking to today.
Yeah. So we are meeting with one of our AWS Generative AI Competency Partners. And this was one of our first partners that we launched with a few months ago. We've had the Generative AI Competency on the show before. And so this is probably about, I think, the third time that we've had them on. Really fun group showing like what we're building across AWS and how we're using partners to build generative AI together and go after customers together and really help build those solutions. So without further ado, let's bring on our partner
Yeah,
GoML, and we have someone from AWS joining us as well.
great. Hey
Hello,
guys,
welcome to the
Hello.
show.
Hey,
welcome
Jasmine,
back.
Gigi,
Right?
Michelle.
Hi everyone.
Good to see you.
Good morning, good evening.
Hello, hello. All right, Victor, you are back.
I'm back after being the last week in Mexico City in the AWS Summit.
Yeah.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Good experience there, not only for the food, but also all the audience that was hearing about how to avoid any false start with AWS partners, how the partners can help them to get started easier. And this is why I'm here again to talk a little bit about GoML, one of our partners in the competency. They are launch partners. They started with us several months ago, and I'm happy to be here with Rishabh. Rishabh, nice to see you again.
Thanks. Absolutely, Victor. Victor has been the one who actually audited us for the GenAI competency. So first of all, thanks for that, Victor. Just a brief introduction about myself. I've been working with AWS never as an employee, but managing the partnerships from outside for almost a decade now. But currently, I'm representing GoML, I'm the founder and CBO for GoML, which is almost a 14-month-old organization now. We've been doing some very interesting stuff in the space of generative AI with AWS. As Victor highlighted, we were one of the first GenAI competency launch partners. I've built close to 50 plus use cases in the space of healthcare, financial services, life sciences. And we'll probably showcase some of these and discuss some of these use cases as well. But really excited to be part of this conversation. Looking forward.
We're excited to have you. I also love that you refer to the age of the company in months like it's a baby.
So the average age,
It'll only
if
be
you
months
remove
forever.
me out of the picture, is 24 years, right? So we are pretty young. I'm not, but the company is pretty young.
So you might be the only one referencing it in months.
Absolutely.
That's pretty
amazing.
cool. So, tell us a little bit, Rashab, about how you got started with oh my goodness, I am just having a blast today. Tell us how you get. That's how you know we're live. Tell me how you
Yes.
got started with GoML. What inspired you to start this company, and then why'd you lean in on AWS?
So I'll first answer the second part of the question because that's easier for me. Right? I've been, as I highlighted, been in the technology space for almost 14 years now. But I've spent a decade or more than that probably managing AWS partnerships, building AWS businesses, right? In my previous role, I was actually doing this for a larger organization, LTIMindtree, to help them set up their AWS unit in the US. We eventually became one of the preferred partners in the migration and application development space as well, won several awards. So, I mean, working with AWS honestly comes natural to me, and I really love the kind of partner support that AWS brings in. Right? So, two things that probably makes AWS obviously an obvious choice for partners like us. One, obviously, as I highlighted, the partner support that you guys bring in, right? Not only from the technology perspective, the hand holding that you actually do for young partners like ourselves to bring them, upgrade them on the technology, upgrade them on the latest trends, get accesses to services. The third and the most important piece is access to these funding programs as well to probably help our clients and partners, experiment faster, especially in technologies like generative AI, which are very new, very nascent. Customers want to experiment. They want to build something which is a little cheaper to experiment with, but then probably, experiment fast, learn fast, and then build scalable applications. And the second option, obviously, is AWS. Probably hands down, in my experience, is one of the best, infrastructure, technology services provider, full stack services provider, right? And that's why I've been working with you guys for almost over a decade, right? Now, coming to the first part of the question, right? This is actually the second organization that we started. The organization before this was called Power Up Cloud Technologies, and I was running the data and AI business again with AWS at that time. So I think the experience that I had at that time was really exhilarating. This time, what we thought with GoML, since obviously generative AI again has been solving some really, really, really interesting and complex use cases. We just probably worked with a healthcare organization that helped them save a human life, through one of the models that we built for them. So I think this time it was more about passion. How can we use technology to probably help and serve our customers better, right? 14 months down the lane, we definitely are pretty strong. And I'll speak about some of these, how we are saving human lives, how we are helping a life sciences organization, build regulations faster. So solving some really interesting use cases, which are actually solving business use cases faster.
I did see in a little bit of a briefing that you sent us before that you were one of the first companies to try out Amazon Bedrock. What was that experience like being one of the first to use a brand new service on AWS?
So, and that's what I mentioned, right? Why I love working with AWS is that you trust young partners like us, right, to probably experiment with these newer technologies. I think that's what, because you yourself have that culture of being a startup, right? It's always day one at Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we really love about, right? Bedrock specifically was a very, very, and still remains to be a very exciting service from AWS. And to our viewers, right, who probably haven't heard of Bedrock, right, it's one of the managed services that AWS provides to help you run your large language models, end-to-end managed models, right, your generative AI workloads on Amazon, right? Now, one of the best things about it is that it gives you so much of room to experiment with these models across, right? Like, and the last number, I've even stopped counting the number of models that you have now. It's now gone into the later double digits, right? So I think it was really exciting to probably start leveraging one service that allows you to now probably experiment these extensive models. Because as I was highlighting, the stage that we are probably at with generative AI right now, there are multiple use cases that are being built, experimented. You want a bit of, you want a lot of room in terms of experimenting, and that's what Bedrock allows you to do. There's not one model that solves all the use cases, or there are no multiple models that are required to probably solve a single use case. So there's, if I may, probably there's no, a rule of thumb right now. So that's why we were really happy to probably get access to Bedrock, and that actually helped us build some of these use cases much faster than we could have, for our customers very early on our journey. And we thank AWS for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing that story. We have Aaron S. Hunter in the chat here that says, one of the first companies to use Amazon Bedrock. Wow, must have been some great insights and experience. So we are live. We do have comments coming in there. So if you do have comments or questions for our speakers today, we would love to answer them. We're going to read them out here on the chat. So switching gears a little bit, Victor, tell us about what it was like to work with GoML as a launch partner. You did the technical validations and going through and saying, okay, yeah, we want to give these partners the stamp of approval. What were some of the things that you were looking for and what stood out?
It was super interesting since the beginning because they were born in GenAI, not just in the cloud revolution that everybody talks about. Now they are in the GenAI revolution. And I said, okay, let's take a look at those case studies and use cases that you have already public and published on your GitHub repository. And I was surprised with everything that they had done. And when we enter into the tech validations, it wasn't, you see at this moment Rishab, but behind him, there's a full team of people that is supporting and that was supported through the tech validation with all the details, the evidence, and the deliverables that they build for the customer in order to bring them a high quality delivery, and also those details that as a customers we expect to see from a partner, that they know what needs to be done, that they know how to do it, and that they already have done that before, and also in a matter of months how they grew. I was surprised.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. So, Rashab, tell us a little bit about, where you focus. I think it's, healthcare, life sciences, where you've really been winning and choosing to focus on. But tell us about that. And then, we can't wait to get to the demo to show everyone what it is that you've been working on.
Absolutely, Jasmine. Before I get into the industry, right? And first of all, Victor, if you would have just interacted with me, you would have never given us that competency. It's the team that probably brought that confidence, right? So again, thanks for that. Yeah. But before I get into the industries, right, Jasmine, I see the biggest challenge that we, because we've been interacting with these clients across globally, right? In North America, as we work with clients in Europe and UAE as well, specifically Dubai. The biggest challenge that we had seen with most of these customers, the CIOs that we were speaking to, was while they understood, that what the technology can do, but they really did not understand probably what type of use cases can the technology solve. Again, since being a very nascent, technology in the foray, right? So I think one thing that we did was we built up close to 50 plus use cases, right? And I'll showcase that in the demo as well. and we've open sourced those use cases as part of our leadership board or leadership dashboard, right? So that just probably changed the whole view, because now a CIO probably could see, okay, these are the use cases that are possible on GenAI and have been delivered, right? So top 3 industries that we've seen a lot of outcome come in from is healthcare, life sciences, is solving some really interesting use cases, financial services, and manufacturing, right? These are the top 3 places where we've actually, done a lot of use cases from. I think what I'll do is I've picked up a very, very specific use case that I want to demo now, right, in the healthcare space that we're actually doing. Let me just probably do a quick screen share. All right. So what we are trying to solve, and probably in the next, a couple of minutes, I'll showcase this, how we are solving this problem, right? The biggest problem that we've seen with our healthcare clients, right, is that they have a lot of siloed data that they have, right? And that data is in silos, not because it's coming from different providers, right? But it's probably different nature altogether, right? It's your, your imaging data, right? These are your X-ray, CT scans, MRIs, etc., right? It's your structured EHR, electronic health records. It's your unstructured doctor's prescriptions and whatnot, right? So what we did was, and I'll quickly show you this as well. Well, this requires an Okta authorization. I've just probably surpassed that with the login screen. So what it actually allows you to do is, and this is focused more on doctors and your physicians, your lab assistants, your chief medical officers primarily, to get insights into that data real time. Like, while not probably getting into each of those siloed data, they get one probably area which then helps them analyze this data end to end, right? So I'm just going to probably enter the patient ID over here. All they do probably is enter the patient ID, and this report takes a couple of minutes to generate. So what I've done is I've already generated a report over here, right? So this is the patient ID that I had actually entered over there, right? So again, problem statement, multiple data sources that you're actually sitting on, different types of data sources. How do you consume it? Before or without this solution, primarily the use case that we're solving, doctors spent almost close to months to probably analyze that data, right? So this solution, which is built on Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is Anthropic's latest model on Bedrock, right? This starts from the summarization or probably jogging the memory of the your healthcare professional. So who the patient is primarily, what are the details on the patient, what's the family history, what were the symptoms that have been identified, which is resting in some of these reports, EHR records, just primarily jogging the memory of the healthcare professionals, first of all, right? Now, and they have all the options to probably edit it as well, right? So today, if they feel some of the symptoms mentioned incorrectly over here, they can actually edit this end to end. But most importantly, what it actually does is, and this is where the intelligence piece of the model comes into picture. It's now able to collate all this data, identify the right patterns out of that data, and probably provide an executive summary on the patient's health, which generally a doctor would probably take a lot of time, because they will have to analyze all this data multiple times, will take a lot of time, right? So probably it goes from, right from identifying of, and it actually gives a complete citation source as well. Right? So where did it actually get that data? Because working in very regulated industries like healthcare requires you to probably cite or give a complete explanation of that data, right? How did you probably come up with that data? Right? So it gives detailed citation of that data, right? How did it actually come up with that data? Which reports did it actually refer to, right? It primarily, what's the degenerative this, etc. What's the high body fat percentage and so on. Right? So it gives you a complete executive summary on the patient's health. It then probably generates what's the medication that the patient is on, what's the follow-up that has been created for the patient. And again, for every source, there's a citation. How did it come up with that, outcome to build trust and explainability into the model? It then probably dives a little deeper into creating a report for the patient in 3 areas, right? This is where, again, the second level of intelligence of the model comes into picture, where it's able to identify trends right from the patient's past history, and then probably gives probabilities, etc., in terms of cancer, right? Body composition, right? And what's the overall, what's the risk that the patient has from cancer perspective, right? It shows cancer screening risk markers, and then probably suggests the next steps as well, right? And finally, it actually gives detailed a visualization of the complete data, right? So it identifies what are the spikes, etc., that you actually have, right, across your bilirubin, your glucose levels, your B12 levels. And I myself have had my B12 levels gone down, right, and I know how bad that is, right? So if proactively doctors are able to identify that within the reports, which a human eye again would take a lot of time, right? It does a trend summary, right? So probably, what's your albumin, which is probably one of the analyzed trends, right? It has decreased over time. Is that a period of concern, right? It creates all those trends for you, right? Bilirubin levels, your CO2 levels, chloride, etc. I'll just scroll through towards the end of the report. So this is a detailed report that's actually generated. They can download. They generally download this report and then probably share with their patients and decide what are the next steps, right? And then they even
So
have an
Rishab,
integration.
as you're going through this, we have some new viewers joining us. So what we want to do is, just kind of reset with the audience and let them know we are going through and showing the capabilities of one of our AWS partners, GoML. And so what we're taking you through here is an example of, what a physician would see on some of the technologies and solutions that they've built here. And it's some dashboards to kind of bring everything into one view. Rishab, what does this really do for the physician?
Absolutely. That's a very good question, right, Jasmine? So before the solution, right, what they were actually doing. So today, when they onboard a patient, right, they actually go through the patient's complete medical history before they would generate something like this, right? And they would not generate something as detailed, but something like this, a healthcare plan for the patient for further treatment, further improvement, and so on, right? Now, generally for them, for a doctor, it would take almost anywhere near 3 to 4 months to analyze the complete patient healthcare data, right? And then probably start onboarding the patient, start discussing the metrics, and then decide on the patient healthcare plan. That would probably result in the patient getting onboarded in around 2 quarters. With this solution, right, there are two things that are happening now. One is that onboarding with the complete patient healthcare analysis that I just probably browsed through, right? Historical report understanding, generating personalized healthcare plans happens within minutes, not even hours, right? And if I go back to the previous screen, right? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, it gets generated within hours, right? Not even minutes, not even hours. So just imagine that time coming from the patient getting onboarded from 6 months to probably now days, because this report is generated within minutes for doctors, right? Number one. Number two, and this is where as I was highlighting that we are helping, or we helped one of our clients save a human life. Identifying these patterns in the patient's history, which probably a human oversight or human would oversee, right, is something that this model does with 95% accuracy today, right? And it actually helped them save a human life over the weekend, where probably a 2-year-old patient had come in with a renal failure. Doctors at that point, because again, it would take some time for them to analyze these reports, were not able to analyze that the patient was born with a kidney infection. But this report immediately, or this system immediately was able to identify that she was born with a kidney infection, and they were able to put her on immediate medication to prevent from the second kidney getting failed, right? So that's the level of intelligence that this system brings in.
That's amazing. I do love that the idea behind this is we're taking away a burden that, has been around and since the beginning of doctors having any reports to review. And the way that you're doing this is consolidating all this data into one knowledge base that is this report with recommendations. So you're taking a load off the doctors, you're freeing up their time, but then also the ease of use. So getting this to the doctors is where the value comes in as well. The people that would normally have to keep all this disparate data, somewhat organized, instead now can just provide this for the doctors to easily access all of it. I love it.
Absolutely.
It's so cool.
I think, Gigi, you put it beautifully, right? The doctors are not supposed to probably sit and look at these reports, right? They're supposed to treat the patients as fast. That's the intelligence that they bring on board, right? So that's what this system will never replace any physician or a doctor, right? I don't think so. We can do that with these systems at this point, right? It's going to make their lives easier, and in turn probably help them provide this healthcare much faster and much better, right? Mm-hmm. In fact, the second part of the solution, right, which is, and this is another problem that we've seen with a lot of physicians, right, that, and especially in the US, right, when they have to spend these hours generating notes. So just imagine a doctor probably after a 12-hour hectic shift has to now sit down and report everything, because that's a HIPAA compliance, right? That they have to probably generate reports on the same day, generate notes on the same day. So what this solution does is, and I again, probably since it takes some time, it actually gives an option for the doctors for that particular patient, right? Select what they want to probably put in the report, which reports, etc. they want to probably put in, right? Which image scans, which visits they want to cover, and so on, and generate these notes for the doctor real time. Now, all the doctor has to do is they have this option of probably looking at this report, editing this report, and then submitting it. It's again saving massive time for these doctors, and it's just a cumbersome job for the doctors to probably just sit down and generate these reports after 12-hour shifts, right? So that's another problem that we're actually solving through this solution, right? One last piece I want to probably showcase on the solution that we're actually doing for our clients, right? And I'm just going to refresh this. So that's another problem that doctors and physicians have highlighted, that they have all this data, right? And I think one good thing that we've been able to do is, as you highlighted, is probably present this data in more consumable form with probably reports coming out, very specific outcomes, and so on and so forth, right? But second problem that they want to solve is that they should be able to create aggregations of this data. They should be able to understand real-time patterns of this data, right? So probably what we've actually done is we've actually built an assistant for them, which is a completely NLP-powered assistant, right? All they have to do is, and this actually again sits and probably analyzes data from multiple data sources at the backend, right? And they come and probably ask queries like, give me the list of patients above with cholesterol about 100, because they just want to understand what are the health patterns, right? Now, what the system actually does at this time is it actually runs or generates a real-time SQL query, right? It generates that data, right? So this is a complete table that has been generated with that data. It analyzes that data, right? It gives a complete overview of the data set. It gives you the findings, what's the detailed list, like what's the conclusion of the total record, like what's the outcome, right? And it also allows them to visualize this data real time, like how probably the overall, cholesterol across their patients have actually increased, right? So probably, if I probably put right, what are the results? So they just visualize, right, probably how the results have actually moved and so on, right? So it just becomes like a one-stop shop to now probably go and interact, understand patterns around this data and so on, like that.
Got it. So I do wonder, this is amazing. Obviously, this is really, really cool. When companies hear about GoML, how do they start using a solution like this or any other solution? What is the in between a physician getting access to this and you guys being competency partners that are verified and given the okay from these organizations because of that verification? What happens in between those two pieces? Yeah.
So see, one thing that we've actually done, right, is we've identified close to around 12, as I was highlighting, we solved close to 50 plus use cases, right? And we've identified 12 repeatable patterns around it, right? Mm-hmm. What are these patterns? Right, these are probably your chat agents, right? These are your personalized content generation. These are your your summarization and intelligence extraction, and one of the use cases that you actually saw. And what we've done is we built boilerplates around these, right? So what we do today is we leverage, since these boilerplates are already deployed, tested, right? They've been tested on customers' data and customers' environment. Whenever you get a client's requirement, right, two things definitely help. One, obviously, as you mentioned, being a generative AI competency. Launch partner with AWS, it's a technical validation from the client side. But these boilerplates now, because there's just a customization that we're doing on top of these boilerplates, right? We are able to build these applications 80% faster, 60% cheaper for our clients. We've gone live, the use case that I showed you, we went live in 8 weeks with that use case end to end, right? Wow. So that's the speed, right, that we're able to bring in, and that's probably, that's something that's really making us, work with our customers much faster, solving these use cases much faster.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you said you're able to do this in 8 weeks, and doing that alongside AWS. So, this is the end of our time that we have here with you. But Victor, Rashab, just really quickly, what advice do you have to any developers who are looking to experiment with generative AI?
That in case that you need any help, take a look at the competency partners. They can bring you several Gen AI solutions to accelerate your projects and the need that you may have for this type of specialized use cases, because the partners already did it, so you don't need to be doing any guesswork. They are here to help.
I love that.
Absolutely. My 2 cents is, obviously work with partners like us. Thank you. But, experiment, right? I think the way that we're actually building GenAI and probably what Bedrock and SageMaker Jumpstart models bring on table, experiment. It's never a good time to probably experiment than today, right? So, yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Victor, Rashab, thank you so much. We're dropping links here in the chat for people to understand more about the competency and more about GoML. That was really awesome. We really appreciate the demo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Sure.
Gigi.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
That was so cool.
It was. And I love the real life use case of being able to say, like, physicians are able to put this in practice. We solved for this in 8 weeks, and it's saving lives, which not every solution does that, but when it's a healthcare life sciences thing, that is really, really neat to see how all of the AWS services come into practice and all together.
Yeah. And it definitely gives a sense of this is real. You can see it happening with their Copilot solution that they made and things like that. It's a nice way to democratize access to this type of work, and the fact that they have more than 50 boilerplate LLM solutions that they've created that anyone can just employ if they're using AWS and get access to. It's very cool.
Yeah,
so
super impressive.
Very important, Jasmine.
Yeah.
We have a survey.
Go ahead, Gigi. Yeah, I'm like, we have an audience here. We do have a survey.
We have a captive. We have the audience held captive for another 30 minutes. And with that, we want to give you guys $10 to fill out the survey.
Yeah. So we have AWS credits. Please take 2 minutes here to fill out the survey. Let us know what it is that you like about the show, what it is that you want to learn here. We really do read all of this. Nick goes through and reads all of the responses. And, we'd like to hear what it is that you want to see next. But speaking of what we have next, we're going to keep the show moving. Gigi, do you know what time it is?
I think it's a word from our sponsors time.
It is. We're going to hear from NVIDIA and see what they're up to.
Great.
Welcome back, everyone, to AWS On Air. My name is Robbie Belson, just your friendly neighborhood developer advocate. And I've got one question for you this afternoon. Are you all ready to meet some of the world's most realistic personal avatars? I sure am. And to break this down for us, we've got Anand and Victor here joining us here today. Victor, Anand, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Start with a round of intros, Victor.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm Victor. Good to see you, everyone. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Synthesia, with the world's largest AI video generation platform. And excited to show you guys around.
And Anand.
Hey guys, I'm Anand, and I'm a partner marketing manager at NVIDIA, managing our relationship with AWS. And I hear that Synthesia has a very cool architecture that's built on AWS. So we're excited to hear about that and tell you guys a little bit about it.
So the world's largest video generation platform. That is one tall order here, Victor. Take us behind the scenes. Everyone loves a good origin story. How is Synthesia? What problem statement did you set out to solve? And tell us about the journey.
Yeah, I mean, I thought video generation platform, that's a bit too much, but definitely have AI avatar video with the biggest. So, I mean, Synthesia really started 8 years ago. So we've been at it for quite a while. And the very short version is I grew up in Copenhagen, Denmark. And in my kind of, late teens, figured out I could make money online by making websites for people. Figured out that was quite fun, but it was actually more fun to build real products. So worked in the Danish startup ecosystem for a while. And eventually figured out I wanted to build my own company. At that point, I learned that I love building products, but I'd also learned that I wasn't super passionate about building HR platforms and accounting tools. I've always been very interested in sci-fi and the kind of thrills of technology. I really wanted to do something with that. So I moved away from Copenhagen. It's a nice place, but that's not the place to build companies like that. And went to London It's been a very long story short, met a professor from Stanford who had done a research paper called Face to Face. And that's really, I think, the first time the world saw these technologies, right? So it's like a neural network producing video content that looked and felt almost like hyperreal. At least back then, maybe not when you look back at it today, it's a long time ago. And when I saw that, I was just instantly captivated by it, right? I felt like this technology is going to change like everything we know about video creation, and I really think media technology in general, right? So kind of started to build this vision of, in 10 years time, so this is in 2016, 10 years time, you're going to be able to create a Hollywood film from your laptop without needing anything else than just your imagination, right? That was sort of what we believed was going to happen in the world. And then we wanted to see if we could try and build a company that would sort of like ride that wave and play some part in rethinking how we do media production, really, right? Not just video. Now we're seeing the text, of course, LLMs and speech with our technology and others. But that was like the high level thing that got us really interested. And then from there on, we basically set out to build a company. And I think looking back now, it's been quite a crazy journey. The generative AI moment that we're all living in right now took a bit longer to kind of manifest than we hoped for. The first 3 years, we're just like screwing around the garage, building some like AI dubbing technology that kind of worked, but not really. It worked if you like only looked at the camera and never looked away. In 2020, we came up with this idea of avatars, which is what our technology today centers around, it's a pretty simple idea, right? You want to create a video, but instead of recording with a camera, you want to just type out the script in the browser, select an avatar, create yourself, which we'll see how to do in a second, and then we'll make a video using AI, right? And that kind of really just took off in 2020, and we now work with 60% of Fortune 100, hundreds of thousands of people that make videos for all different kinds of purposes, really. Like I had to pick a few use cases that say things like training, marketing videos, where you want kind of like a talking head, a bit like we're all right now. Build up video editor around it. And I think today just have a really cool platform that essentially just helps people bring their messages to life. So instead of sending emails or writing documents or having PowerPoint, you can make AI videos.
Fantastic overview. And I want to go back to that comment of Hollywood from your laptop and turn it over to you. From an NVIDIA perspective, how does what Victor described in this rapid evolution of Synthesia align with NVIDIA's overall strategy in this space?
Yeah, I mean, it aligns perfectly. I think Jensen says it the best. He says that the intersection of AI and accelerated computing is set to redefine the future. So what Synthesia is doing is amazing. They're democratizing technology. The fact that I can sit down at my computer and, as we're about to see, create basically a digital twin of myself, an avatar, speak in different languages, that improves my innovation, my efficiency, and I don't have to rent expensive camera equipment, expensive actors, studios. How cool is that? We get to democratize technology and content creation from my own computer in my own house on my own chair.
Well said. And here at AWS On Air, we don't just talk about tech, we see it, we build it. So Victor, take us behind the scenes of Synthesia. I hear we have a demo today.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, cool. So this is the Synthesia platform. And what I want to show you guys today is how to create an AI clone of yourself that you can use to make videos, right? And of course, the reason we want to make videos instead of text, because if you ask most of the people in the world, they want to watch and listen to their content. They don't want to read that much anymore, which is also why we're on the stream right now, right? So this is Synthesia, you log in, and what I'll go to here is create my own personal avatar. So
can you believe you're watching an AI-generated avatar?
Here. And there's essentially two ways you can create your avatar. You can either record it with your webcam, which is what I'm going to do in just a second, or you can record it with like really any other camera, just upload the footage after. And you get quite creative. So what you're seeing here is actually a personal avatar. So hopefully this sound will work. I'll just play it here to get a sense of like what it actually looks like.
I know, it's crazy, right? You can create your own by uploading footage shot on your phone.
All right, so this is the instructions. I'll show you how to do it, so we won't go through it here. I'll select if I want to use my webcam or just upload the footage of me like walking in the park, for example. Let's go with the webcam. As you can see now, my webcam is turning on. You can adjust some of the settings here. You can choose the language that you want to record your clone in. And there's a quite wide selection here. And once we're done with my avatar, you'll be able to speak in 29 different languages. So pick the language that you're the most comfortable in. I'll do it in English here. I'll click next. And then this is the script that you're going to be reading, where we essentially, need a couple of minutes of footage to kind of capture how you speak and how you look. And that's what we use to make your clone. I'll click start recording here. And then in just a second, I shall see this just kind of scrolls a bit like a teleprompter essentially, right? And once you're then done with it, which takes around 2 minutes time, then you wait for the avatar to be done. I'm just gonna exit this flow. And when your avatar is done, you will be able to access it in the platform. And I'm going to show you just a few of the avatars I already have for myself. So here you can see a bunch of different avatars that I've made. There's one which is very much kind of like the setting I'm seeing right now, actually the same office. I have a few where I'm kind of like standing up. I have one with a side view. One of me just like sitting and staring with webcam. You can really get very, very creative with this. But let's try to make a video. So the first thing I'll do is I will go into here and I'll find a template. Let's go to templates. We'll use this one.
And these templates are designed to match popular industry use cases, what you're hearing from customers.
Yeah, so they come in all different shapes and forms of like if you're creating trading videos or sales videos or whatever thing that you're trying to create. This here is of course not my avatar. So the first thing I'll do is I'll replace the avatar with my own. So let's find, let's maybe try and use this one. So as you can see here, now it's my avatar. I can change the text here. So I can go in and say, let's make this into lesson 1, AWS, your guide to getting started. And because it's a Synthesia template, it already has our logo and a bunch of other things, right? I could then go to the next scene here and maybe we'll add in something like this. You can change the text or whatever. It's essentially kind of like making a PowerPoint or using Canva or something like that, right? Of course, the magic happens down here where you put in the script that you want your avatar to say. So here we have a basic script. This is just a sentence, of course. So let me just maybe add something else. Let's get started. So this is my clone here, my video clone, but we also have my voice clone, of course. So it'll also sound like me. So we can preview what the video is going to sound like before we actually see it. So just preview it over here, and you should hopefully be able to hear that it sounds somewhat like me. Hi, and welcome to my new course with AWS. Let's get started. As you can tell, that voice is pretty similar to mine, right? It's very difficult to hear that it's not my real voice. And maybe my mom will be able to tell, but for most people, this is pretty good. Of course, you can fill in much more text here. You can add more scenes. Let's say we wanted to have a scene maybe where actually my avatar is not even on there. Maybe I'm narrating like a screen recording or something else. You can use our library in here. Let's say this video here for cool graphs. We could extend that out, and then we could just add some narration on top of it. The possibilities really are kind of endless. And the cool thing is that once you've kind of made your video in English, which of course is how I recorded my clone, you can actually also put in a bunch of other languages, but we'll see how that works in just a second. For now, I'm just gonna generate this video. So that is now generating. Another way you can create a video is by using what we call our video assistant. The video assistant is essentially a GPT-style technology where you can give us some source material and we'll actually kind of make a video for you. So if I open up the video assistant here, it works the following way. I can take a template here that we can start from. So maybe this time I'll go with this one. And then here I can either upload a PDF file or PowerPoint. I can even prompt it with an idea, or I can give it a web link. In this case here, I'm going to give it a web link. So here you see a blog post from the AWS blog, right? We'll take the link. We'll go back to Synthesia. We'll put it in here. And in a second, the video assistant will then parse the link and will essentially be able to take all the information that is in that link and turn that into a video. So let's click generate video.
So this is multimodal in action.
This is definitely multimodal in action. And I think the way we view this, right, this is of course getting better and better. And a lot of people working on this. Today, I'd say it gets you maybe like 80% of the way. You should expect that this is like just a final video. You can just like render out and put it on there. But even just getting like 80% of the way is a lot, right? Because it essentially turns your job as the person making the video into almost more kind of like an editor. Like the AI comes up with something and you just kind of look it through, maybe you want to change a few details. And that just speeds up the workflow like significantly, right? So let's see what it came up with here. Okay, so this is what it kind of looks like. You can see all the text here. The script down here is all essentially taken from the blog post. It even pulls in images that is in the article, and the text should be matching that. I can again go in here and say, actually, I want a different avatar, which could either be myself, or it could be one of our cool expressive avatars here. We can render that out. And now you have a video which essentially talks about the video or the web link which we just went through, right? So let's see if the other video we made is done rendering. I think it is, yeah. This is obviously a pretty short video, but let's see what it looks like. Hi, and welcome to my new course with AWS. Let's get started.
Use this slide for your sales pitch or to explain some complex.
Right. So that's really fast, and it's a pretty kind of cool way to make videos versus having to record it live like we're doing right now. The platform comes with a bunch of other cool things that you can do. You can ask people to comment on your video, and you can tag someone. So I'll tag Stefan, my co-founder here. Say, look at this.
Topics.
I can also
add engaging stuff.
Translate the video, which is another pretty cool feature.
Content to make it easier for viewers to understand.
So in here, I can say I want the video in Spanish, German, and Italian.
Standard.
And what happens now is we have a new folder here with all of my videos. So this is the original one I created in English. These are all the different language versions. So when I click this video here, you'll see that this has actually already been translated into Spanish. So this is in Spanish, this is Spanish, and the script is also in Spanish. So let's hear what I sound like in Spanish.
Hola y bienvenidos a mi nuevo curso con AWS. Vamos a empezar.
Awesome.
We can listen to the German as well.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu meinem neuen Kurs mit AWS. Fangen wir an.
And so this way, I've actually taken that one video, right, and I've made it in 3 different languages, not just translating the script, but actually translating all the different elements that sits in the video as well. And there's a lot of other things you can do with the platform, but this is basically how it works. Wow. And the last thing I maybe just want to leave you with is if you look at all these like different avatars you can create, the one you saw of me here is obviously pretty simple, but you can actually get extremely creative. So here is like an avatar that does yoga, for example.
Hi, I'm Ada, and this is my personal avatar.
We have avatars in all different kinds of ways, right? And this is really just your imagination, and that's the limitation here. To create these, you would just go to the park and film someone actually doing yoga or sitting in a chair at home. But this really means that you can just like do a lot of like very interesting avatars with this new personal avatar technology.
Absolutely fascinating. Incredible demo, Victor. Thank you so much. And just the volume of content being generated in such a short period of time, the multimodal nature of the platform, the ability to go multi-language, the ability to preserve your own voice and narrative style, I think is particularly impressive. Just in the last 2 minutes here, Victor, I know there might be a QR code for the audience to pull up to try this for themselves. While you pull that up, Anand, any thoughts that you can, or behind the scenes insight, Alice, in terms of how this was built?
Of course. So as you may notice, creating a custom avatar through your computer requires a massive amount of compute behind the scenes. So how does that happen? Synthesia uses AWS. They use our EC2 P5 instances. And for those of you who don't know what that is, our EC2 P5 instances are the latest high-performance GPU-based instances on AWS. So I think the stat that I found most fascinating is that they accelerated model training by 30x, not 2x, 5x, not even 10x, 30x. So Victor, if you have any comments on how AWS helped, why you guys chose AWS, and how that's helped accelerate your training and make it more efficient, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for us, we both do inference, of course, which is exactly how that's how the videos we just created were seen. But we also do a lot of our fundamental research, right? And I think one of the awesome thing about work with AWS is just like the kind of the scalability of being able to, from an inference side, handle like hundreds and thousands of people making their personal avatars all at once. And on the training side, being able to do really, really big training runs with lots of data, lots of GPUs to get us to the models that we require here today, right? So I think for us, that's AWS has always been like an amazing partner in terms of just essentially, I think just like removing all the problems and letting us focus on like doing the science to make the avatar technology actually work and then deploy it into the product after. So that's been really awesome.
Well, thank you so much for the collaboration, Victor. Great to have you on the show here, Anand. Encouraging everyone, 50 free personal avatars from Synthesia. Really, really cool segment here today. Thank you both for joining, and I'll turn it back to our hosts on the weekly show.
Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
Yeah, that is so interesting to see what it is that their customers and our partners are doing, with AWS and getting to hear, under the hood, the technology that's making it happen, but really seeing that, in words, come to life.
Yes, definitely. And I hope that our audience, it seems like our audience is popping off in the chat a little bit, which is so much fun.
Yeah.
I did see the Illuminati emoji come in.
Yeah.
If you're in the Illuminati and you're watching, pop it in the chat. Otherwise, we would love for everyone else who's watching to give, and if you haven't already, a survey response to hear more about what you want to hear about, because that was so cool. I love how we're catering, I think, a lot of our content towards what the audience wants, and we continue to make it better, and we need these survey responses to do that.
Yeah, and I love it. Nick goes through the survey every week, like we said. So tell us what it is that you really like about the show, what it is that you want to hear more and learn more about, because we really want to bring these AWS topics here to you. I love also seeing where people are from in the comments. So tell us where it is that you're joining from. This is really exciting for us to have a Monday show. We don't usually do Monday shows, so that's fun.
It's a really nice way to kick off the week. This is a lot of fun for a Monday afternoon for me.
Yeah, for sure. What do we have coming up? And we don't say next week. We have 2 shows this week, which is super fun. We have another show coming on this Friday. Nick, where are you?
Yeah, where are you, producer Nick? There you are.
Right here.
Oh, look at you. We're passing the baton to you.
Yeah, what are we doing on Friday, Nick?
Well, Friday, we can't give away the launches we'll be talking about just yet, but it's going to be some cool demos. Friday, we're coming back to our normally scheduled time, noon Pacific time. It's what we usually do weekly. Like Gigi and Jasmine were talking about earlier, we wanted to try a Monday episode to give our friends in Europe a little bit more of a convenient time, since y'all are good sport for staying up as late as you do for our normal show. But yeah, super fun. Friday will be awesome. I'm excited to be able to do 2 shows in 1 week. I will be having to drink another triple shot latte after this. I mean, got to get that energy up for a Monday morning. But I thought there were some really cool demos today, personally.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. What'd you learn today, Nick?
What did you learn?
I was that personal avatar thing I thought was pretty mind blowing from Synthesia there. I was half expecting the rug to be pulled out at the end and find out that they were both just that new tech that we had been talking to the whole time. That was really cool. But yeah, both use cases for GoML and Synthesia I thought were really interesting. So I hope our audience agreed. Like Jasmine and Gigi have been plugging, take that survey, open up a nice bottle of wine, get a fire going, and I read y'all's surveys before bed every single night. It's how invested I am in making sure we bring you guys content that you want. So take the survey, you get that $10 in free credits, and also sign up for that cool free avatar thing that Synthesia had there. If you missed the QR code or missed any of the episode today, yeah. Hey, it's for the vibes, okay? That's why.
Is it at least like you just have to press a button and it's an electric fireplace, so you
don't have
it's
outside.
for a gas?
It's outside.
Nice.
Yeah, you get some s'mores and surveys. That's
S'mores and
That's the dream.
surveys.
Yeah,
S'mores
any
and
should.
surveys with
s'more.
Nick. That might be a new show idea.
S'mores
That's a
and
great show.
surveys.
Yeah, I was thinking that's a great, like, you guys should host a party at your house and call it the S'mores and Surveys party, and Nick
Yeah.
just hands out packets.
Yeah,
It's
just
like, here's
end of
some
the year, I
s'mores,
read
but you
everybody's
have to
best
read.
responses. What are the best survey responses we've
Yeah.
gotten?
I mean, but hey, if Nick hasn't said it enough, go ahead and take that survey. We want to help you get over your next hurdle here with whatever you're doing
Oh.
with AWS.
Ooh.
Solid plug there, Jasmine. Yeah, you know, I read a book that said repetition is key. So subtlety, take the survey again. And if you missed any of the rest of our show, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or our YouTube events playlist so you can see previous episodes. Check out other stuff that you've missed. I think our other producer, Debbie, in the chat can drop that in for y'all to reference. But besides that, this has been officially my Monday word count. So I'm going to hand it back over to Jasmine and Gigi to take us out of the show.
Great.
Thanks,
Nick.
Nick.
So we have a survey is the biggest takeaway from this show. We also have a new generative AI competency partner competency. Which order do those words go in, Jasmine?
Generative AI Competency Partner.
Okay, it was right the first time.
Yeah.
I was practicing saying the whole phrase this weekend in preparation. How many times can you say it fast? So we have a new competency partner program that's really exciting. GoML has some awesome boilerplate templates to use for LLMs on AWS. What's the best way to find their offerings? Is it in the marketplace? Is it through their partner page?
Yeah, so their partner page, I think we linked it here earlier. They have a unique partner profile that goes through and it shows their competencies as well as their capabilities and some customer case studies that they have published there to be able to see what it is specifically that GoML does.
Amazing. And we have that in the chat. It might say faux ML, but it is GoML.
Uh-oh, little typo
and
there.
our producers plug in the chat. Yep.
Yeah.
It can be whatever you want it to be today, but it is GoML. So check them out. And then also check out, if you want to rewatch the show, it'll be on our page and you can check out the NVIDIA segment as well and scan that QR code to get some access to free avatars.
Yeah, and then this is the time of the year where I always start plugging reInvent. We are coming up so close on reInvent. We have our countdowns going in December in Las Vegas. It is almost that time. Go ahead and get registered. We have the session catalog out now. Like, I'm so excited for what's to come. You're going to get all of the AWS services. It is such a fun week. So if you want to have some time to start convincing your managers and even your colleagues and coworkers and getting your friend group together, maybe it's your AWS study group, now is the time to start plugging that in and getting registered for reInvent. Hotels are, going to be all throughout the Las Vegas Strip. It is a whole week just jam-packed with AWS, and we can't wait to see you there.
Love it. Yes. Yeah. Join us at reInvent. Join us on this Friday's show. I'm not going to be on it, but there will be 2 hosts hosting it.
Yep.
And it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And with that, we will conclude today's shows. Thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe and go back and watch any of our other videos. This has been fun, Gigi.
Yes, this has been a great start to my week. So thank you. Thank you for the time. This is so fun.
All right. Take us out.